Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
At a wedding we went to, my wife murmured to her pal that she'd still choose her former boyfriend over me. I stayed silent, but I caught every syllable. Let me paint the picture. We were at my cousin Mike's wedding last Saturday. Stunning service, free-flowing drinks, the full package. My wife Lisa and I had been hitched for 6 years. We were seated at table 12 with her university buddy Amanda and Amanda's spouse Steve. Lisa figured she was whispering softly when she bent toward Amanda during the father-daughter dance. Man, seeing this stirs up thoughts of what might have been. Lisa breathed. If I had a redo, I'd still select Marcus instead of him. Marcus, her old flame from college, the man she was with for 3 years before we started dating. I was right there, perhaps 2 feet away, but she assumed the tunes were blasting enough to mask her words. They weren't. I maintained a blank expression and downed my beverage. Didn't respond, didn't challenge her, just stored that detail and continued grinning. The remainder of the wedding proceeded as usual. We grooved on the floor, we sipped cocktails, we chatted lightly with other attendees. Lisa behaved as if nothing occurred, chuckled at my quips, clasped my hand amid the toasts, portrayed the ideal spouse. But I couldn't shake her remark from my mind. Sunday morning over breakfast brew, I chose to probe a bit. Fantastic event yesterday. I mentioned offhandedly. Got me reminiscing about our own big day. Lisa grinned. Yep, it was lovely, though I'd argue ours topped it. Truly? No second thoughts about the outcome? She eyed me oddly. Second thoughts? Such as? I don't know. Alternate paths, different partners. Lisa extended her arm across the table and gripped my hand. Absolutely not. I wed precisely the person I was meant to wed. The falsehood slipped out effortlessly. She stared straight into my eyes and deceived without a flicker. That revealed all I needed about our position. In the following weeks, I began observing Lisa's actions more closely. Minor details I'd ignored previously now appeared meaningful. How she often drifted off during our conversations. How she'd grown guarded with her phone. How she'd begun referencing Amanda frequently, needing to connect with her longtime companion. 3 weeks post-wedding, Lisa declared Amanda was dropping by for one of their ladies' evenings. Fun times, I replied. I'll clear out. No need to vanish. It's just wine and chatter for us. Nope, you ladies deserve space. I'll tinker with projects in the garage. That night, I deliberately arranged my computer in the garage workspace, which adjoins our kitchen via a thin wall. The prior homeowner had skimped on building quality, and noises traveled readily between the areas. I'd noticed this ages ago when the next-door neighbor's pup disrupted my sleep. Amanda showed up around 8 with bottles of vino. They kicked off in the kitchen discussing jobs and shared acquaintances. Standard topics. But as the alcohol took effect, Amanda guided the talk toward romances. So what's the deal with you and Fine? Same old. That lacks excitement. Lisa exhaled. Nothing's actually wrong. David's a solid husband. He's dependable. He treats me kindly. He's reliable. But occasionally I question if reliable suffices. Like at Mike's wedding, observing him and Sarah, they seemed so fired up about each other. When's the last time David and I experienced that? Wedded life evolves, Lisa. The fire doesn't endure eternally. I realize. But what if it was absent from the start? Amanda paused. Explain? What if I tied the knot with David for incorrect motives? What if I picked him because he was secure, not because I couldn't picture existence without him? Are you pondering another guy? Extended silence. At times I reflect on Marcus, on what could have transpired if his folks hadn't meddled. Lisa, that ended over a decade ago. I get it. But Marcus and I shared something genuine, something fierce. With David, it's always seemed more like a collaboration than a romance tale. They shifted to the living room afterward, and I lost the specifics, but I'd absorbed plenty. The wedding murmur wasn't merely a fleeting memory. It was her true sentiment about our union. Amanda departed around 11. When Lisa slipped into bed, she was extra loving than typical. Likely a remorseful mindset. The following dawn, I rang my attorney, Tom Bradley. We'd collaborated on company agreements, and I relied on his directness. Tom, I need info on separation steps in theory. Nothing's theoretical when consulting your attorney on separation. What's going on? My wife isn't content in the union. She's not unfaithful, but she's mentally disengaged, still hung up on her ex. Any proof? She confessed it to a friend. I eavesdropped on the exchange. That's complex. Eavesdrop talks can be problematic in court, particularly if you were intentionally listening in. What if she confessed it straight to me? That would be far more robust. But David, are you certain you want to dissolve the marriage? Have you thought about therapy? I can't repair a union with someone who regrets not marrying another. Valid point. If you proceed, I'd suggest attempting to draw her honesty about her emotions first. If she acknowledges wanting out, we can pursue a friendly no-fault split. If she resists, it turns ugly. Over the subsequent month, I offered Lisa numerous chances to come clean. I proposed couples therapy. I inquired if she was fulfilled. I recommended a loving getaway weekend. Each instance, she sidestepped or provided shallow comforts. Meanwhile, I quietly readied for separation, compiled our monetary papers, switched my paycheck to an individual account, duplicated key files. If Lisa insisted on feigning normalcy, I'd be prepared when the pretense shattered. The shatter occurred in early November. Lisa noted Amanda was hosting folks for supper. She asked us both. Lisa said, "Just a relaxed gathering with a few pairs. Count me in." What I was unaware of was that Amanda had become uneasy with Lisa's admissions. Seemingly, their ladies' nights had turned into Lisa's venting sessions, and Amanda was weary of being the sole confidant on Lisa's marital misery. Steve shared this with me afterward. Amanda had been complaining to him about feeling trapped in the drama. She appreciated me, viewed me as a decent fellow, and felt bad knowing Lisa was basically sustaining a deception. When Lisa began discussing contacting Marcus via social platforms, Amanda resolved action was necessary. The supper gathering was Amanda's effort at a wake-up call. She'd invited 2 additional couples we'd mingled with previously, figuring a group environment might prompt Lisa to open up about her emotions. We pulled up Friday evening to find 6 others already present. Amanda had prepared her signature lasagna and Steve was crafting cocktails. Typical supper party vibe. But midway through the food, Amanda began directing the discussion toward wedlock and truthfulness. "Steve and I were chatting about this," she stated. "How do you cope when your partner isn't fully open about their emotions?" The other pairs offered their views. Most concurred that minor fibs were commonplace, but major problems demanded open dialogue. "How about you, Lisa?" Amanda queried pointedly. "Do you believe partners should reveal their uncertainties about the union?" Lisa fidgeted. "I think there's a distinction between voicing worries and unloading every dark idea on your spouse. But what if those ideas concern the core bond?" "Amanda, what's your angle?" Amanda inhaled deeply. "My angle is that you've dedicated the past 2 months informing me you're dissatisfied in your marriage and regret your selections. And I believe David merits knowing that." The table fell hushed. Everyone sensed an explosion brewing. Lisa's complexion drained. "Amanda, halt. I'm apologetic, but I can't continue acting like all's well when you've repeatedly stated you believe you wed the incorrect individual. You're twisting things." "Am I? Because 3 weeks back you mentioned considering messaging Marcus on Facebook. Last week you said you were mulling over single life again." Lisa scanned the table at all the gawking expressions, then returned to Amanda. "I can't fathom you're pulling this. I'm pulling this because David is my friend as well, and he doesn't deserve deception." I watched Lisa begin to fret. "Amanda, those were confidential talks, and they ought to have been talks with your husband, not me." Steve attempted to interject. "Amanda, perhaps this merits private discussion." "No," Amanda declared. "Lisa's had months to be upfront with David. She's opted against it, so I'm opting for honesty now." Amanda gazed straight at me. "David, Lisa has been sharing for weeks that she views marrying you as an error. She says you're a fine man, but you're not her soulmate. She's been discussing reaching out to her former boyfriend Marcus, pondering what might have unfolded if they'd remained together." Lisa rose suddenly, tears welling. "Cease. Just cease." "I won't cease because this isn't just to anyone. David merits the facts, and you merit ending the pretense." Lisa eyed me with pleading in her gaze. "David, she's overstating. Yes, I've harbored some uncertainties, but every wedded individual does at times." "Uncertainties about wedding the correct person?" I questioned softly. Lisa began, then halted. She surveyed the table at all the onlookers, then back to me. "I don't know how to reply to that." "Of course you do, it's a simple yes or no." Lisa slumped back down, sobbing intenser now. The other supper attendees were attempting to act oblivious, but in such a compact space there was no seclusion. "Yes," she murmured at last. "Yes, at times I ponder if I wed the right person." "And Marcus? Planning to message him?" Lisa dabbed her eyes. "I viewed his Facebook profile. I considered contacting, but I refrained. Because you chose against it, or because you lacked the nerve yet? Because I recognized it was improper. I reclined in my seat. But you still desired to. Yes. The room was utterly quiet. Even Amanda appeared to regret her wake-up call now that it was unfolding. Lisa, I stated measuredly. I value your honesty, at long last, but I can't remain wed to someone who regrets not wedding another. David, hold on. Just because I have uncertainties doesn't imply, it implies precisely that. You believe you wed the wrong individual. You're still enamored with your ex. You've been deceiving me about your emotions for months, perhaps years. Lisa was weeping consistently now. I do care for you, but not the way you cared for him. She didn't respond. She didn't have to. I rose. I suggest we head home and sort this out. Lisa nodded, still weeping. We exchanged clumsy farewells with the other attendees and drove home in total muteness. Upon arriving at the house, Lisa headed directly to the living room and huddled on the sofa. I fixed myself a drink and settled opposite her. How long have these feelings lingered? I inquired. I don't know. Perhaps always, somewhat. But it intensified after Mike's wedding. Observing him and Sarah, witnessing their gazes, it highlighted what's absent between us. Why not inform me? What could I have said? Hey darling, I think I wed you for flawed reasons and I'm still enamored with my ex-boyfriend. Yes, precisely that, because then we could have addressed it or concluded it truthfully, rather than you sustaining a deception and forcing me into one too. Lisa peered at me amid her tears. Would you have desired to address it if I'd admitted feelings for Marcus? I pondered truthfully. I don't know. Perhaps. But I would have craved the opportunity to attempt instead of discovering this manner. I'm regretful. I know that means nothing. But I am regretful. What do you wish to do now? Lisa was silent for an eternity. I don't believe recovery's possible. You'll never trust me anew. And frankly, I don't know if I can cease the what-ifs. So we separate. The next day, Lisa packed a suitcase and stayed with her sibling while we sorted the details. I phoned Tom and informed him we were set to advance with separation proceedings. What shifted? He queried. She at last revealed the truth. How severe? She's been sustaining a deception for 6 years, still enamored with her ex, views me as an error, has been contemplating contacting him. Rough. At least she was upfront about it. That should simplify the separation. It did. Lisa didn't challenge anything. We divided possessions 50-50, sold the home and submitted no-fault separation. The entire procedure lasted 4 months. I learned via shared friends that Lisa did contact Marcus after our separation finalized. Evidently, he was wed with children and held no desire to revive their university romance. Lisa relocated to another town and began anew. Amanda and Steve asked me to supper a few months after all was resolved. Amanda expressed regret for her approach. I should have spoken to Lisa alone initially, she said. The supper party was overly theatrical. Perhaps, I replied, but it succeeded. I obtained the facts even if unattractive. Are you upset with me? No. You were correct. I merited knowing. Lisa never would have disclosed on her own. Steve lifted his glass. To chaotic friends who speak truth when it counts. To progressing, I responded. 6 months on, I encountered Jennifer at a professional seminar. She was freshly separated too, with 2 children and zero desire to fake her identity. We proceeded gradually, but from the initial dialogue, I sensed the contrast. She regarded me the way Lisa had regarded Marcus in her recollections. The way someone regards you when you're their top pick, not their fallback.